All right, let's see what's happened overnight and stuff. See if we still are bearish. All right, looks like Russell came lower, tapped into that 4-hour fair value gap. Dow Jones came lower. We got a nice little wick down here and bounce. It looks like ES did the same thing, and we have relative strength in NASDAQ here, looks like. So everyone's kind of come down and tapped into the 4-hour. Uh, which was here. And then, excuse me, and NASDAQ never did, and it's got relative equal lows. Yeah, Russell did, Dow Jones didn't really have one. All right, that was that was yesterday at the close. So yeah, we got that dip down into in ES. So it makes sense that we're bouncing. And right after that, we did get a nice bounce much higher on NASDAQ. And then we had the retrace lower, which was just kind of a low consolidation on YM. We still got these 1-hour bearish fair value gaps to be filled. Oops, 1 hour. We got the same things on everything else. 15-minute chart. Now we can see the kill zones. Um, yeah, so we just came down. YM, SMT, and then weakness in the Russell. This could be a long in the Russell. But so far, we do have bearish SMT the in the Nasdaq, and this is exactly what set up the short yesterday. Um, Interesting. We sort of got some relative equal highs up here too, or at least low resistance liquidity. So this is kind of a toughie. The long, made sense here, down into here, but there was no S&T here, and we are respecting bearish order flow. We did have a shift here, we did have a shift there, we come back up into here, and now ES is making SMT, but we'd want to see bearish SMT with YM. So we would need YM to suddenly show some relative strength. So that's not enough for me to get short or have a short idea yet. Uh, yeah, there's a bearish target there. Russell, this is the type of move we get when Russell does like move, where we get the SMT and then so SMT here. But the problem is it did end up taking it out. So the bullish SMT isn't really valid. There is SMT happening. Man, and then we got another one here, so maybe it is. Very tricky. Um, going back to the flows on the Dow Jones, which is usually not super significant. Yesterday we did have a very significant flow, and right at about 1 p.m. we had bearish flow leading up to 1, and then suddenly like 2 million, 3 million in calls, premiums with matching volume came through, which basically marks the low there and makes sense that we're bouncing. So everything makes sense that we're bouncing here. The problem is the flow on the other guys. So Russell's flow wasn't bearish really. It was bearish all day with the call selling, and we did get moved down to kind of match that. And then they were selling puts all day though, so it kind of seems like they'd want to get it lower at least at some point today, or yeah, a short-term low to get out of those puts. Though there's not that many of them, that's why it'd be like a short-term low. But there's nothing bullish. That's the thing. There's just nothing bullish in the flow for Russell. It's just slightly bearish, and price was moving down, so not much edge to carve out. But as for SPY, calls were being sold all day into the negatives because at the same time puts were going positive all day and all the volume was in calls, and then it switched to puts. So that just to me confirms that there's most likely going to be like a continuation. So yeah, there you go. And then the tide is exactly the same basically. All right. So, oh, what about Qs? So yeah, QQQ actually had we actually had calls rise with price at the beginning of the day and then flatline as price came down. And then calls finally started to get really sold um, once we were kind of halfway down into the day. And we sold all the way into the bottom, and then calls started to rise again. But the problem is puts at that point were rising, and they still were rising. So same thing for QQQ. It just seems like there's room for another leg down. Maybe not a huge one necessarily, but a leg down. All right, so now let's see if there's any levels of interest for how do I save this as save as default? Okay. And how do I change that? There we go. All right, so we've got PM session up here. Um, ES hasn't tapped into that. NASDAQ did though on this leg, and then now it consolidated, and now NASDAQ has not taken it out yet. But yeah, it already took out that New York PM session high. So it's kind of tricky to look for some sort of SMT. But for Russell, there is SMT already. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, this high here. So that's looking like something. Um, kind of tricky though, man. YM made a lower low all the way back into this old consolidation. It took out all this. So there is like a flat out bullish SMT playing out here. It's almost like it wants to come all the way back up into this. Maybe even take out. Hmm, I don't know. Kind of tricky. We need to zoom out again. Alright, so we do have some other things I forgot to mark out here. We got a 4 hour here, bullish one, bullish fair value gap there. We have one forming here on Russell, but it's not in play yet. So we'll just put something there. Leave it blank. Yeah. Excuse me. This is just a bearish one, but yeah. So we may just be getting a bearish SMT here, and then I just don't know how we're gonna get it with ES if it's going to be bearish. Maybe 1 hour candles. And it looks like Nasdaq's gonna maybe pop up there. Yeah, right now longs are like playing out. That's the thing. Let's check crypto real quick. Cool. Silver and gold breaking out. Let's check VIX. VIX is in a nice little gap down area, or gap up fill. Could come lower though. Alright, maybe something's happening on SPY. Oh, whoops. Maybe that was not good. Okay. Alright, so Dow Jones came down, and then now it's just kind of meat bottoming. IWM didn't get that SMT. I didn't get that weird low there. So Dow Jones came and what low did we take out? So Dow Jones came down and took out the prior PM and the prior lunch to that order block. So yeah, there's bullish SMT here occurring. So there was bullish order flow on Qs into the close. So it looks like they're going to play that out. They're going to play out the bullish order flow, on Russell, it was a little bullish too at the lows. So that's playing out. It may open this green and then give the reversal at the open. And then, yeah, IWM, and then SPY. So yeah, obvious bullish SMT from the Dow to SPY. We cracked the low here, but we cracked way deeper on the Dow. And then with QQQ, we actually did like have clear bullish SMT. So that took out that high, came down, tapped the order block, and now we're gonna go for some higher prices. So it looks like the puts on Russell kind of just followed price. As price came up and topped out, then puts came down with it, back kind of down to the opening level, which is still net bearish slightly, but the volume wasn't really in the puts though. The volume was in the calls, and calls got sold, flatlined into the consolidation, actually rose slightly again into a pull retrace, and then dumped again, and then flatlined while price still stayed low. So they did buy the bottom, but it's just the same thesis. Nothing super clear. Maybe if we look back a little bit. Calls rose with volume, so price continued up, and then they dumped everything. They took profits. For some reason, they bought some calls there. Took everything out. They dumped the puts. Puts rose into this. Yeah, it just seems like still wants to go lower, slightly at least. Yeah, I just gotta see how this plays. We may come for these highs even. It's a tough one though or not tough, there's just nothing there. There's nothing there yet. There's nothing to get short off of yet. The only level is like yesterday's PM session high. Nasdaq already took that out, but it's being pretty weak now. But we could just look for a smaller time frame SMT on the current price action, and that might be enough. I'd want to see a level be taken. Like we are in a premium. How far are we? We're not in a premium, but we will be if we get above that CE, the fair value gap. ES probably is already above it. Yeah, so ES is in a premium. Um, Nasdaq, it's always been in a premium. And we're not in a premium on Russell yet, but I suspect we will be. So yeah, we're just gonna have to watch this little current range and see if we get an SMT. Otherwise, I'm too afraid to take longs. I don't see anything in the flow confirming that bias, and the stuff that I do see that's bullish is like you can say it's already playing out. So I missed it. I'd want to catch a short back down. So Nasdaq's got that really obvious uh, excuse me, relative equal lows down there. So that's what I'm looking for. If there's anything in gold or silver, looks like there's an SMT in gold and silver right now. Silver heading higher, gold breaking back out. Um, is there a higher time frame level here? It's being touched. Yeah, so silver bouncing. Did we make a new low? No, we didn't. So silver's just coming up. Gold was already coming up here. We had this high take out this range, but didn't take out that cleaner one, but it did take that out. Came back down. This is where suddenly strength showed up in silver, and now it's taking out that same high here. So I'd want to see some relative weakness show up here in gold into this area maybe. We got a daily fair value gap there. We got a lot of stuff up here in silver to rebalance. We got relative equal lows kind of sweeping, so it could come up into the mid-range of this. And if gold just keeps failing here, that would be interesting. But yeah, I probably wouldn't want to get higher time frame short biased until uh, maybe you had some SMT up into something up into here. And that makes sense. It makes sense that silver would shoot up into there. Maybe gold hits this and starts to reject while silver's up above this little area here. And then that would be the short idea, I think. So I'll probably put an alert here just to line that up. Nice. Alright, so we got the fair value gaps. There's just fair value gaps and everything on the way down. Maybe this is going to reference something to the left. Alright, that's my plan though. I'm looking for an SMT into these current price action ranges. And then that PM session high for shorts. Other than that, it's not super clear. I'll have to see what happens if it doesn't set up and change the plan from there. And this bullish SMT is definitely real. So on IWM and Dow, it's very clear if you look from 1:50, so 2 p.m. to after hours. They both made lower lows. Oh, but we have SMT here with the prior PM session. So it could just be bullish. Could be looking just for a retrace and a long. That's the only thing that I see. So if there's no SMT right now, the bullish SMT is still in play. So if we get a pullback down into here on Russell, could make sense. But I want to see Dow Jones come lower. I still want to see further bullish price action or bullish SMT if we're going to get that. So I'd want to see Dow come lower here, come all the way back down below this order block, We had the relative weakness here in Russell, and then relative strength, SMT. We get the move up. Dow Jones gets a big pullback. Russell doesn't. It gets a bullish, very strong bullish SMT there. Really lined up nicely with the 4-hour fair value gap. Confirms the low. The relative strength though shows back up in the Dow Jones, and then we get that relative weakness to eventually mark that bottom, and then the big move. So yeah, we want to see the same thing. We want to see this come take out a low, Russell to hold it, and then keep room for possibility that Russell may come actually lower later on for later structure, and then go. And that this looks really easy for the Dow to come and take something out down here. Could easily just come back into that. What is that? 1 hour? That 4-hour fair value gap, which is lined up with the order block. Alright. Alright, sounds good.